any of the information that you already know, you don't have to write it down. And left off, so the y-intercept is when x is 0, and it's also the starting point. And if you don't have it all, I can come back to it. Okay, so again, we're going to use the note page as a reference. We're going to be doing our notes in our spiral. And okay, so there are two types of word problems that we're going to be given today. We've got where we're given a point and a slope, and then when we're given a slope and a y-intercept. So, number one, the farmer started with some demos, and the words that they used for the fruits are confusing. I just think of everything as an apple. Every day she exploded 3 of them. So if you're exploding them, are they going to go up or is it going to go down?
No.
It's going to go down. And so that's our per. So your per is going to be your slope. So my m is going to be -3. And after 4 days, she had got 90 demos. That's your point. So you have 4 days, and which happens to be your x, and she got 90 demos. So because of our graph, we're going to have to label the graph. You have to label the x and y axis. So you want to make sure that you know that those pieces of information. So can we write an equation when given a point and a slope? Yes. So those were the two equations, formulas I told you to write down, which was point slope form or slope intercept. Which would y'all like to use?
Slope intercept.
Okay, so that is y equals mx plus b. So we know that our equation is going to start off as y equals -3x. So we're looking for the b. So some of the questions will ask, what is your rate of change? What is your y-intercept? Then what is your equation? So make sure you read your question before you start answering them, because they'll ask different things. So our y value is 90. So we have 90 equals our slope times the x that it gave us, and plus the b that we don't know. So what is -3 times 4? -12. What's the opposite of -12? So add 12 to both sides. Skipping the step of rewriting. So b equals what? 102. Okay. So before you graph, especially if you're having trouble with it, it's a good idea to kind of sketch your graph out. And this is what your sketch would look like. So your y-intercept is 102. And it also asks on our paper is how many demos will she have after 10 days? So is our slope going up or is it going down? Down, okay? How can we find out what's happened in 10 days? What's the easy way to find out? By using your what? Handy dandy calculator. So go to y equals, type in -3x plus 102, and then go to your table. And so you can start at 0, you should be at 102. And it also asks you to fill out a table too. Excuse me, what'd you say?
Never mind, I'm sorry.
You got it? So you got 0 and 0. So 0 and 102. And so the other 0 is your x-intercept. And we need 10 also. So at 10, how many will she have? 72. So that's one of your answers. And then keep toggling until your y value turns to 0. There it goes. And that's when x equals 34. And so then again, above the window, this is table set, and that's where you can start at 0 again instead of toggling back up. And if you're using Desmos, would finding the 0 be super easy? 100%. You just move the graph, and you'll be able to find the 0 super easy, and just push on it. It'll actually have it there. So there are two types of graph. First off, how many quadrants do we have on our graph? Do we know what quadrants are?
Oh, that's weird, like 4, right?
So a normal graph would have 4. How many does this one have?
1.
1. Has 1 quadrant. So because it only has 1 quadrant, then do we have any negative numbers? Oh, no negative numbers. So, and because it's only 1 quadrant, you have 2 types of, not lines, we have a ray and a segment. So, if I plotted this one, I'm just gonna estimate, I'd have 0 and 102. So I'd have to have 102 up here, right? And then 34 is the x. So somewhere over here would have to be 34. So would this be a ray or a segment?
Ray.
So when you think about a ray, this might help you remember. You have a sun, and suns have rays that come off. And what do those rays do? Do they stop?
No.
No. Does this one stop?
Yes.
Yeah, so that would be a segment. So the first thing you're gonna have to choose is segment. And then you would go down to the bottom, and then you can change your scale so that you could get to the 34 and the 102. So on the bottom of the board, you have 1 and 12, 5 and 60, 10 and 120, because there are, if you look at the graph, they are units of 12s. And 1, 5, 10, and 20 are the choices you get to make when you are in Getting Math. So let's do one more, and then I will show you how to graph on the app real quick. So the second type of problems is when they give you a slope and a y-intercept. So look at number 2, and what is my slope? So what is he getting every day or per day? 7. So 7's your slope, and what's your y-intercept? 0. So what would the coordinates of your y-intercept be? If your y is 0, what's x? 0. So then my answer for number 2 would be A, 0, 0. And things you would need to know to be able to graph. You have x days, and y is yo-yos. And I did find out if you pull up that screen, you can still toggle on the back side, which I didn't realize you could go up and down. I thought you had to get out to be able to see it. And so then your graph would start at 0. And what's our equation going to be? Y equals what? What's my m? 7. So y equals 7x plus 0. So y equals 7x. So that means at 0, I have 0. At 5, how many do you have? What's 5 times 7? 35. 10, you would have 70. So some of them, can you put that in y equals and get the table from there? 100%. What would your units need to be? So do we need to go more than 1 4 days? No. But for the y-axis, would 12 be enough? No, 12 would not be enough. You'd want to at least change it to 60, which would be 5, or 120 would be okay also. But 5 would be sufficient. Either one. But if you do 5, you can't graph 10 and 70. So, and it's basically we're gonna graph. So we can do 5 and 35. So it'd be 5 days and 35. And so would this be a segment or a ray? Array, because it's going up. So if your slope is positive, it's going to be a ray. If your slope is negative, it's going to be a segment. So let me show you in get more math real quick, how to graph, and y'all can go ahead and log on while you're waiting. Okay, so I just picked a random problem with a random graph. So it's not necessarily have the same names. So to graph the first one, I would go up to the top where it says line, change that so that it says a segment. And then go down to the circle down below, and then you can change the settings. So I had 34 and 102 that I needed to graph, and the X was days, and I need to get to 34, so I'd choose 5. And days, oops. And then my Y scale, I needed to get to 102. So 10 would get me to 60, 20 to 120, so I'd have to choose 20. Y scale, Y label is supposed to be Dimmels, and of course I don't get the same name, but I'll pick one. So you have to label. And the first thing you have to plot is the y-intercept. So my y-intercept was at 0, 0, 102, and the 34 was my x-intercept. So 102. So, and did I need to go up to 240? No. So I needed to be at 10. My finger was fat. Okay. So 102. So I've got 100. And let me make this bigger. Hold on. Did it go away? And so just move it down. So there's 10 in each little box. So 102 would be just sitting on top of the line. What it's super picky about is left and right. And if you're doing 102 and you do it over 110, it's obviously not correct. So that where it is right now would be correct. A little bit below would be correct. And then you would hit a check. And then I needed to be at 34. So between 30 and 40 is 35. So 34 would be right on the other side of that line. And again, it needs to be, that dot needs to be right in the middle of the x-axis. Is it? No, it looks a little bit above. So just move it down just a tad, and then, yeah, that's as far as it's gonna go down. And so that would be good for the first graph. The second graph would be a what? Is it a segment also?
No.
It was a ray. And then our x scale stayed the same at 1. And it was days also, and it was yo-yos. And we needed to get up to 35. So 10 would be too much. 5 would be okay. And again, I can't change the Y name. Again, the first point you have to plot is the y-intercept, which is at 0, 0. That one looks good. And then I had 5 and 35. So this one, 5, I like 5 and 10 because they're what color lines? You know, tell? They're your blue lines. So they're a little bit easier to find. So 35 would be between 30 and 40. And it needs to line up right in the middle like a bullseye. And that looks pretty good. And that I would check. And then you do your final check on the bottom.